So we are talking about the condenser microphone today. So this is a microphone operating principle that uses two charged plates of metal to create an audio signal. The two plates store electricity, and as they vibrate together, the amount of energy they can store changes, and this squeezes waves of electrical signal out, representing the change in air pressure. The changing electrical pulse is very slight and requires a pre-amplifying circuit. It requires external power from a battery or phantom power to operate. So you can see with this microphone it is quite a lot larger than a dynamic microphone, and that is because this has got the pre-amplifying circuit inside it, and it takes a lot more circuitry to make this run. So it's quite a bit more complicated than the dynamic microphones we were learning about before, and this more complicated design and the powered circuitry make it a bit more sensitive than a dynamic microphone. It reacts faster to sounds, and that's our transient response, and it picks up higher and lower sounds, which is our frequency response. But because there is so much circuitry inside the body of the microphone, and because the diaphragm there is a lot more sensitive, it makes them a bit more fragile, and they're also a lot more expensive. So we don't really want to use this in situations where it's likely to get damaged. So in live situations, particularly in like a rock concert situation, we would not use this microphone. They're just too sensitive for that, and they're also in danger of getting damaged, and if we damage them, they are more expensive. Okay, so there's a few different varieties here. This is the Rode NT1 that we have, and it can be used, so this marks the front, and so you talk directly through it or sing directly through it that way. This is great for vocals. It's got a really nice top end on it that really makes every single syllable stick out. But you can also put this on instruments and amplifiers. It does quite a few things. This one here is our Audio-Technica AT2050. This can do all the same things that this Rode does, except we have a switchable polar pattern, which changes what directions it is listening in. We also have a pad here, so that if it is on a loud sound source, like a drum for example, we can flick that switch and it makes the whole microphone quieter. And we can also filter out low end, so if we are recording something that we don't want the low end of, we can cut that out at the microphone, which can be really good if you're doing some really close-up voice work or something like that. And then a whole different style. This is a small diaphragm condenser, which is called a C02 by Samson, and this is the sort of thing that you would use on overheads for drums, or you could put this on piano or string instruments. So they're all pretty versatile, but you'll notice that with instruments that we're talking about, we're either talking about acoustic instruments that are quieter and a bit more gentle, or as instruments that we're trying to get the very high end from. So this microphone here is great for overheads on drums because it can pick up all the really bright sounds of the cymbals. So again, very sensitive, and they all need a bit of extra gear to make them run, so not really using them in a live situation unless it's a really controlled one. So we're talking about how they've got the circuitry on the inside that needs the phantom power to run. Phantom power is a button you can select on the front of the interface, which makes power come up the cable and into the microphone, and then that allows the circuitry to run properly in there. So let's have a listen to these microphones. I'll record a few sounds with a condenser microphone and with a dynamic microphone, and we'll have some examples that we can listen back and forth and maybe see if we can pick which one is going to be more appropriate for a different style. the voice and for what you're hearing right now, this is the dynamic microphone you can hear, and this is the condenser microphone that you can hear. So let's switch back again. Dynamic microphone, test, test, 1, 2, test, 1, 2. Condenser microphone, test, 1, 2, test, test, 1, 2. So what you're hearing, the difference there would be the frequency response range on the condenser microphone. Just hearing a lot more high frequency and a lot more low frequency stuff, certainly compared to the dynamic microphone. In terms of for a live show though, does the difference really matter? Probably not. And certainly there's a lot of advantages to using a dynamic microphone. Its durability, and it's less sensitive to picking up other sounds.